All right, good morning. Today is day number 67, and it's Monday, July 8th, and we are packed up and ready to get started with the day. This was where we camped last night. Little tent site here is part of a larger campground, so there's like a little side trail that leads back over there to the campground, and we met up with so there was Jim and Jim that I've been talking about, but then there was a third Jim that I mentioned, and the third Jim actually was already here. When we got here last night, he set up his hammock over there, and there was a nice little overlook area with a view that we chatted for a little bit before Riley and I set up our tent. So we had a restful night last night. I did not get any reading done. I was, again, too tired and just wanted to go to sleep once I got Riley and myself fed. And all of our other chores done, so that's okay. Today we are going to pass by the Big Meadows campground, and we should also get to the Skyland Resort and Lodge towards the end of the day. That's like the main part, kind of like the central part of Shenandoah National Park. There's a lot of popular side trails other than the AT that are clustered around the Skyland Resort area. Skyland Resort is about 8 miles after the Big Meadows area. So that's what's coming up for today. We're gonna get started and we'll see how it goes. All right, bye for now. All right, Riley and I are checking in. We are taking a break at a nice little campsite here. The trail is right out there. It's not really easy to see right now, but it's literally just like 15-20 feet out that way, and north is that way. It's another hot one today. I feel like I haven't been in a very good mood today. I've been thinking about my future, and I was getting frustrated at Riley earlier. And that made me feel bad. Riley, let's see. Riley was just being himself. I'm about to give him a snack. Food and water. No, just a second, Riley. Just a second. Almost, buddy. Yeah, so the day started off fine. We left our campsite, and like immediately after leaving our campsite, this other hiker, I think his name is Sprinter, he came up from behind, and I think he stayed at the previous shelter, so he got off to an earlier start than we did, and we chatted very briefly. He said he was going to be heading into the Big Meadows area where I think the restaurant is, or the wayside is, to get a milkshake. And that was fine, but this is just my personal issue. I prefer to hike. In general, I like to hike alone. But like particularly in the mornings, I enjoy like getting off to a nice leisurely start. Almost. Okay, you can go. Go ahead, Riley. It's fine. A nice leisurely start. Yeah, just seeing the other hikers so early in the morning. I guess it just prevented me from getting off to the leisurely start that I like to get off to. Obviously, the other hiker wasn't doing anything wrong. He was just hiking his own hike. I'm gonna add some more water in here. Just a second, Riley. Hold up. Yeah, but so that happened, and then we hiked a couple miles, and then we took a break, and I ate some ate my oatmeal, and I gave Riley some food and water, and then let's see. Yeah, just a typical morning. Then we continued on, but I guess I got frustrated later on. Like Riley, so there was a couple hikers that passed us while we were taking that first break, but they were just going out for like a short out and back. And as shortly after Riley and I continued on, they were hiking back to their car at the parking lot. So that caused Riley to look after them, and it kind of prevented his forward momentum. So he was less motivated to hike forward. And shortly after we continued on, Riley kind of just stopped because he remembered the other hikers that were going in the other direction. So we took another break. I'm gonna take a drink of my grape flavored water here. Yeah, anyway, so I felt like we were just taking too many breaks, and like initially in the morning, it wasn't because we were tired. It was mostly because Riley was just kind of getting hung up with other hikers and wasn't motivated to hike forward. So that was kind of frustrating me. And I feel like the further we get into the hike, the more it becomes about just like finishing and what you need to do to finish. And it feels harder to just enjoy being out here and enjoy the day-to-day as much. Like earlier on in the hike, I felt like it was easier to be excited. It was kind of like a honeymoon experience. All right, buddy. But now that we're kind of settled into the hike, we're using a chess analogy. We are in the middle game now, as opposed to the opening stage. I like to play chess, by the way. I'm always thinking. I know I said it like a few weeks ago that I was going to stop thinking about mileage as much, but I'm still thinking about just the daily mileage, the daily miles that we're doing a lot, and how much we need to average to get to be able to finish the hike by the time Mount Katahdin closes. And currently so actually yesterday was day 66 of our hike, and when we left, we started on May 3rd from Springer Mountain. So based on that date, we had exactly 166 days until October 15th. Which is the rule of thumb date that I'm using for when Mount Katahdin is most likely to close. And yesterday was day 66. So that means we have 100 days, starting today, we have exactly 100 days left until and including October 15th. And we have through yesterday's mileage, we have 1,274.8 miles to go. which means we need to average just under 12. Well, we need to average 12.748 miles per day every day for the rest of the time that we have to hike in order to finish on October 15th. Here you go, Ray. And so a big part of what I'm thinking about each day is just, I want to try to get to at least whatever that average is. And then if we're able to, I'd like to hike beyond that. And whatever we're able to hike beyond that without being too stressful on ourselves will help us to have a better chance of finishing the hike by the time that Katahdin closes. So that's just a big thing that I'm thinking about. But at the same time, I recognize that it's the journey and the experience that matters, and finishing is nice, but when we finish, yeah, I'm hearing some other voices, so I'm gonna cut the camera off and we'll check in later. There's some other hikers coming up from this direction. All right, so Riley and I are back. It was a couple ridge runners that were actually hiking through, and they stopped and chatted briefly with us, and they just said they were hiking back from the next shelter up there, which is called Rock Spring Hut, and they were just checking on it, and they clean the privies and do some maintenance. So it was cool to talk with them. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, I was just talking about how I'm very focused on our daily mileage, maybe overly focused, probably overly focused. And yeah, I was talking about how I don't feel like I'm in the best of moods today. But I feel like this is just something that will pass, and I sort of feel like I'm starting to feel better. It's probably kind of like a daily cycle. I feel like I start off in the mornings, not in the best of moods, and then later in the day, as we get closer to finding our campsite, I get more excited, because I just enjoy getting into our camp, and getting to go to sleep after a long day. That feels like the reward to me. And yeah, anyway, so we hiked by Big Meadows earlier. Big Meadows has a so this is the elevation profile in the AWOL guide. We started kind of up here at the top of Hazeltop Mountain, and then this is where all the Big Meadows stuff. There's like a gravel road that leads to the wayside, and then a side trail that leads to the lodge, and then the AT kind of goes around the campsite. So it's not just like one trail that leads into it. You pass by multiple campsite locations, and you can see people's tents and people's trailers and stuff. We didn't go in there, but we walked by it. And now we're approaching Rock Spring Hut. I think we're like right here. We're about 6 or 7 tenths of a mile away from the hut. So I think based on this, we've done a little over 7 miles in the day. And I feel like we're in the hottest part of the day. Riley sees something. So it's good that we're taking a break here to hydrate and just give our lungs a chance to rest. Oh wow, there's a deer over there. That's interesting. All right, I'm just gonna hold on to Riley's leash here. The deer is just literally walking down the Appalachian Trail right there, and now it's just looking at us. The deer in Shenandoah have no fear. All right, the deer just scampered as Riley scared it away here. Ugh, okay. Good thing I was holding on to Riley here. Because I just have him strapped to my trekking poles. I usually strap him to my pack, but I just strapped him to my trekking poles, which is not as good an option as strapping him to my pack. I kind of got. I mean, yeah, I don't have a good reason for why I just strapped him to my trekking poles. I guess if I strap him to my trekking poles, then I have easier access to my pack during the break, and I don't have to like move Riley when I want to access my pack. And I feel like strapping him to my trekking poles, while it doesn't prevent him from moving, I feel like it would make him not really want to run away if he's having to carry trekking poles with him. Anyway, I'm just rambling here. All right, he's fine now. What else is on my mind here? Yeah, I've been thinking about not questioning in my mind what the point of doing the hike is, but I'm thinking about how to answer the question. Like if someone were to ask me, well, what is the point of doing the hike? What is the point of why are you doing this? And I know I did spend some time at the beginning of our hike talking about my motivations for doing this with Riley and what I enjoy about doing the hike. But as far as just the question about what is the point? It's not an easy answer, but I feel like the best answer is just that there is no specific point to doing the hike. The point is the point of the hike is defined by the hike itself. It's I was thinking about when I was thinking about this earlier, I was actually recalling a Friends episode from back in the 90s where there was an episode between, or there was a scene between, I think, Joey and Chandler, and they were roommates at the time, and one of them had taken a shower and I guess used the other person's soap, and they were having an argument, and they were talking about how the other guy used the other guy's soap, and how that was so one of the guys was upset because he didn't want the other guy to use the soap, but then and I don't remember which way the conversation was going, but then the other guy was like, what are you worried about? Soap is like a self-cleaning entity. It's not going to get dirty. It just, you can put germs on it and it just cleans itself. At least that's the way that he was thinking of it. And yeah, I guess the reason that came to my mind is because in terms of the point of the hike, like for any other activity that you might ask, what is the point of that? Like, for example, what is the point of going to school, for example? There's many things that you could say, many answers you could give for the point of going to school, but like one common answer would be, well, the point of going to school is so that you can become qualified to get some type of job after your education. That's certainly one point of it. What is the point of adding salt to a recipe if the recipe isn't supposed to be particularly salty? I think the point of that is that the salt is helpful in allowing the flavors of the other ingredients to come out and be appreciated when whatever you're baking or cooking is completed. So like with a lot of other activities, there is a specific point to whatever it is that's being done. And the point is tied to like some end goal. And for the hike, I feel like the point of the hike is different. The point of the hike is not tied to the end goal. It's not to be able to say that you were able to complete the hike, although that is kind of cool. The point of the hike is to appreciate the hike and to appreciate the experience and to enjoy the experience. And that can only be enjoyed by someone who actually enjoys this type of activity. Like for someone that doesn't enjoy getting lots of exercise or dealing with a lot of the challenges that come with doing the hike, it very well may not be an enjoyable experience. In that case, the point of doing the hike would be very hard to understand for someone who doesn't really enjoy the hiking process and the hiking experience, for lack of a better phrase. Yeah, so my answer is just that the point of the hike is just to appreciate and enjoy the experience. And the hiking is hard, and dealing with the elements is challenging, and it can be many, and like I wouldn't say like doing this hike is fun. Many times it's not particularly fun, but it does allow you to experience many benefits that you wouldn't otherwise be able to experience. So I'm kind of rehashing a lot of the stuff that I talked about earlier on in the series about what I enjoy about hiking, but like it allows you to be in nature, and it allows you to not have to worry about a lot of the things that you find yourself worrying about when you're in your daily life. It allows your mind to be somewhat free with your thoughts, and focus on things that you feel are more important to you than things that you might be focusing on when you're not on trail doing a hike like this. So I apologize if I'm not doing a good job of explaining this. But I'm kind of just explaining this for myself. And it's helpful to talk through it. Riley just sighed and is getting some rest here. But yeah, it's interesting how as the hike goes on, like in the early part of the hike, it definitely feels like kind of a honeymoon. And as the hike goes on, you're getting closer to the end, so you're closer to completing your goal. But you also have less time to complete it. And you start to feel more constrained by what you need to do to actually complete the hike, as opposed to, and by that I mean you start to focus more on like just hiking the miles every single day. And if you were to miss a day, like to take a 0 and get some rest, that makes it all that more challenging, at least for Riley and I. Taking a 0 would certainly be nice, but it would make it all that more challenging to be able to complete the hike in the time that we have. Because it would just mean we would need to hike even more miles in a limited amount of time. So I guess what I'm getting at is the early part of the hike. I already said it's like a honeymoon. You feel very free, and that's one of the great things about the hike, is that you feel freedom, or you feel more free than I feel in regular life, where I have some type of job responsibility. But as the hike goes on, I still have the same type of freedom, but I feel more like the hike is becoming a job, and in that sense, I'm feeling less freedom than I felt at the beginning of the hike, because I feel like I'm still free to do what I want, but I'm more. Look at that. There's a big bee there. I'm more. Yeah, I'm still free to do whatever I want, but in order to complete the hike, Riley and I are basically required to hike a whole heck of a lot every single day. All right, that's the bee there. That's a cool bee. Yeah, so hiking is becoming just more like a job. Just reflecting on my thoughts. That's all. It's just a challenge that I have to work through to try to still find enjoyment in the daily process of hiking and completing the whole journey. Like, something feeling like a job isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, I just need to make sure that we're still finding enjoyment in it. So that's all. Those are just some thoughts. I don't have any grand conclusion or anything at this point. I guess the only other thought that I have is that a big part of the enjoyment is just how you're dealing with all the challenges. So how you're dealing with all the heat that exists. But I mean, it's not continuous heat. Like it's just hot primarily during the mid part of the day, and that can definitely take a toll on your happiness. Man, this bee is just chilling right there, not doing any harm, just chilling. Anyway, so this break feels good. I think Riley will be ready to continue on soon. He had a good snack and is well hydrated, and he's not breathing super heavy. So I think I'm rambling on way too long. So I apologize. I guess I'll just check in later and maybe try to show some of the trail later on. So hope everyone's doing well, and I'll say bye for now. We are continuing on from our break spot and gradually making it towards the shelter, Rock Spring Hut. We're not planning to stop in there. There's some water sources after the shelter whenever we need water, and the shelter is 0.2 off the trail as well, so not planning on stopping in there, but it's just one of the landmarks along the day that we will cross by. I think it's coming up right here. I think that post is going to designate that it's 0.2 to the west. Nothing on this side. Yeah. Rock Spring Hut 0.1, Rock Spring Cabin 0.2, Spring 0.2. Okay. And we are continuing on. There's kind of a steep climb coming up here. It was steep and it was hot. And that's one of the reasons Riley and I decided to take a break spot at the campsite back there, because we were both tired. He was breathing heavily and I was tired as well. That's interesting. A lot of space to set up tents over there. I have been demolishing my chocolate frosting, by the way. I got 2 jars of it, and coming into today I had already eaten a full jar, and I was planning to save the other jar until at least tonight, but earlier in the day when I was feeling down and somewhat frustrated, I decided to open the second jar, and start eating it. And and then I was continuing to eat it at the last break spot. I think I've eaten about 3/4 of the jar already. It's very good, but it doesn't solve any problems other than making your taste buds happy temporarily. Doesn't make the heat go away, but it does bring a smile to my face when I'm eating it. There's a nice tent site. think one of the main sources of my frustration sometimes is basically when Riley doesn't want to hike and I want to hike. That's just getting down to the root cause. I think that is a primary source of frustration. Just what's causing me to feel frustrated. And I realize this is part of hiking with a dog, that it's not your own hike, it's your dog's hike. But nevertheless, so he's just stopping to take a pee break here. But nevertheless, so when he does stop to take a break, I'm certainly willing to allow him to take breaks. It's just that it's also a source of frustration when I feel like he's taking excessive breaks, or when I feel like I just want to hike on. So there are definitely times. I mean, it's wonderful to hike with Riley, but there are times when I feel like I would prefer to just be hiking by myself and not be constrained by my hiking partner. But I'm the only one that gets to talk into this camera. Riley does not have a camera for him to talk into. I'm sure if he was able to talk into the camera and express his own thoughts, he would be able to share many of his own frustrations about hiking with me. So I'm just trying to, I guess, get to the root cause of some of my frustrations. And I mean, I'm fully committed to hiking with Riley. Like, I'm not saying that I don't want to hike with him anymore. The primary goal of this hike is to do the hike with Riley. It's just that a secondary goal is to do the hike, and I feel like while I do enjoy hiking with Riley, I feel like I'm not able to hike the way I'm used to hiking. Which, I mean, I knew going in was going to be the case, but it's still, when you're used to a certain way of hiking, where you basically hike according to, your own body, it gets frustrating. It can be frustrating when you're not able to do that. That's all. So I'm rambling on again. The primary important thing is that we're both healthy and we're both doing fine. So it's good to be thankful for that. Right now, this leash is becoming tangled on me, so I need to address that. Okay. We will check in later. We just passed a sign informing us that we need to stay on trail and that off-trail use is prohibited for the next 300 yards. So I decided, let's film the next 300 yards. Big, lots of rocks up there. Seems like we're through it now. That wasn't very long. Doing all right, Riley? Okay. I assume there will be another sign on the other side indicating when the 300 yards is up. Nice little break spot there. I think Riley sees the break spot and he's like, let's take a break, dude. What do you want to do, Riley? You want to take a break, buddy? Okay, we're going to take a break here. So we're hiking again. Riley has renewed motivation because a hiker passed by us during our last break spot. And the trail has become much more rocky. It's actually not rocky there, but it was very rocky. Trust me. And yeah, this is a really cool, I just thought I should get the camera out to get a picture of this. Looks like it's this enormous rock formation and then a nice little sweet break spot right here. This is pretty cool here. Pretty cool. Takes a lot for me to think something is pretty cool. I'm in the mindset of just go one footstep to the next and try to make it a safe one, whether it be pleasant terrain or tough terrain. Just get from one footstep to the next. We passed Hawksbill Gap earlier. And so I think that means we summited Hawksbill Mountain. So many mountain names. And we're a few miles away from the Skyland Resort area. Skyland Resort and Lodge. During my 2018 hike, this is a pleasant memory for me. I was very motivated to make it to the Skyland Resort to eat their breakfast that they serve in the morning. They serve a buffet, or I had heard that they served a buffet breakfast during the summer. And so the night before I got to Skyland Resort, I made it to the last shelter. Riley's peeing. That means he is well hydrated, thanks to me. I'm just throwing that in there. It's good that he's well hydrated. I try to make sure he gets lots of water on these hot days, along with his food. And thanks to Riley too, because he's got to eat it and drink it. Anyway, so back to my story. I made it to Rock Spring Hut for the night, which was the last hut that we passed. And I remember I stayed there that night with a fellow hiker who I was friends with named Bard. His name is Bard because he was known for telling stories, as a bard is prone to do, I guess. Anyway, so that shelter is like, I think 4.3 miles or so, or maybe just under 5 miles. It's not a super long distance from Skyland, so I had intentionally tried to get there the night before so that I could get up early and then have a reasonable hike in to get to breakfast. And I think I remember getting up at like 6 a.m. or so, like basically as early as I was able to that next day. And I was able to hike in, and to my delight, the restaurant was indeed serving a buffet breakfast, and I was happy to go in and order one. They had a very nice breakfast. It even included all you can drink fruit juice. So like, oftentimes the drinks are extra, but they served your choice of either orange juice. I think they also had apple, cranberry, and maybe grapefruit juice. But they also had all you can eat pancakes and waffles and danishes and omelets, and they probably had like mixed potatoes or hash browns. And I'm sure they had other stuff too. So that was a very, very memorable time in Shenandoah. Those are the things that I remember most vividly from my previous hikes, when I was able to eat a very delicious meal. But today we will be passing by Skyland in the evening time, so they're definitely not serving breakfast. That's okay. My pack is heavy enough that it really makes sense for Riley and I to just continue to eat out of the food that I have in my pack, so that we can continue to reduce the weight that I'm carrying. And I've been carrying so much food that like I'm eating quite well, and quite well in terms of like quantity of food and also taste of food too. So, well, buffet breakfast would be awesome to eat, and if it was free, I would absolutely take it. I'm not craving it in the same way that I was back in 2018. I was also thinking that I'm overdoing it on the chocolate fudge frosting. I'm eating it because it's there and I like it, but I don't feel like I feel all that great after I eat it. I feel like my brain, I don't have a headache, but I feel like it clouds my brain a bit for a short time afterward. I was feeling somewhat, not sure what the right word is, but just not as alert or sharp as I usually feel earlier, shortly after I was indulging on the frosting. So the frosting is a guilty pleasure. It's hard for me to resist when I have it available to me. But I don't think it's all that it's cracked up to be. I don't feel, it's not the type of food that makes me feel, apart from tasting good, it's not the type of food that makes me feel very well nourished after eating it. Okay, Riley found some poop to eat. Riley, come on, dude. Riley, come on, dude. Riley just ate a bunch of poop. Like, dude, come on, man. Dude, what are you doing, Riley? Like, dogs, just like, some dogs like to eat poop. Someone might say I'm not feeding him enough because he's resorting to eating the feces of other dogs. But he does that even at home too sometimes. He'll see some stuff on the ground and he'll start to nibble on it. I mean, I try to prevent him from doing it if I'm able to, but sometimes I'm not able to prevent him from doing it. Alright, well, this trail is nice. It suddenly changed from, just feels much more pleasant now. So, nice and level. Riley seems to have a spunk in his step here. So that's nice to see. Alright, well, that's all for now. Riley and Van Gogh signing off. Over and out. So Riley and I are hiking underneath an overlook area. The overlook is up there, and there's a lady up there in a white shirt. So she is appreciating the view, and I am watching her appreciate the view. I can't see her anymore. We just passed a sign that said Skyland. It's actually called Skyland Resort, which is on Skyline Drive. Yeah, so we passed a sign that says Skyland is 1.2 miles from us, so we're getting there. By the way, the reason I'm mentioning it is we're not planning to go in and get food, even though they are serving dinner, I'm sure. And there's a cafe that you can order at. But the food is very overpriced. The only thing that I would consider purchasing would be the buffet breakfast. Since it's all you can eat, it's easier to make that worth the money. But I feel like ordering off the menu is just overpriced unless you're super, super hungry and desperate. At least for me. But so the reason I'm targeting Skyland is that when we get there, we'll have done a little over 12 miles on the day. And the next, and so basically Skyland is a good place to fill up on water. The next water source after Skyland, I think, is like over 4 miles away. And I'm not sure that Riley and I are going to be able to make it to that next water source tonight. So I'm thinking Skyland is our last good opportunity to get water before we find a place to camp. And I did check far out earlier, and there is a campsite. There are a few campsites that I believe are a little under 3 miles away from Skyland. So if we fill up on water at Skyland, then we can hike on and try to find those campsites. Anyway, yeah, so it's a good water source, that's all. Get to the point, Van Gogh. Stop stop taking like 20 minutes to say something that you can say in 10 seconds. So, all right, we'll check in later, buddy. Bye. Give credit where credit is due. As much as I was talking about me getting frustrated with Riley earlier, when I want to hike and he wants to do something else, like look at other people or go in the opposite direction, Riley has been hiking so well so well ever since he darted in front of me after eating that excrement from another dog. I've let him take the lead, and he's been hiking super, super well. He's been in front of me. He hasn't been tugging on me at all. He's just been hiking with purpose, and I've just been taking up the rear and following him, and it looks like he's having fun. So that's awesome. I'm glad to see that. And when I made the comment earlier, I was like, dude, what are you doing, after he ate the other dog's excrement? Obviously he can't respond to me, but I assume if he could, he'd be like, what are you talking about, Van Gogh? Like, it was right there. It's like trail magic. It was right there. To me, it tastes good. I wouldn't have eaten it if I didn't like the taste. Dogs have a different set of motivations and enjoyments than humans do. And you can put a banana in front of Riley and he will, at best, he will sniff it, but he will not eat it because he doesn't like it. But with what he ate earlier, for whatever reason, he's got the instinct to enjoy it. That's probably one of the reasons dogs like to sniff each other's behinds. I'm guessing it's kind of related. I'm not an expert at all, though. Either way, when I see him doing that, I try to stop him, but I wasn't able to stop. I mean, I was sort of able to stop him, but not completely able to stop him earlier. All right, so yeah, so Riley's continuing to hike awesome. And we're entering the evening time, so it's still hot out, but hopefully that means it'll start cooling off. So that's encouraging. So as we're approaching Skyland Resort here, there's this fenced off area here, and I believe this is called the Skyland Stables, which at least at one point was home to horses. I don't know if there are still horses here. I think there could be, but not sure. Nice that they have a picnic table here. All right, which way do we go now? Where do we go now, Riley? Where is the way? There's a white blaze there. I think I see some horses in there, actually. And hold up, buddy. Where's the next white blaze? Okay, I think there's a white blaze over there. Hey, Riley, let's go this way. Let's go this way, buddy. Oh my goodness, Riley, come on. I learned in the book that I read about the 1996 Shenandoah murders, one of the things that the author mentioned was that she talked about the Skyland Stables and the horses that were here. And Riley, this way. All right, what do we got here? Appalachian Trail north that way. Skyland Dining Room, 0.7 miles. Skyland Office, 0.7 miles. AT south. Okay, cool. Riley, we need to go this way. Anyway, so as I was saying, the author of that book, Trailed, talked about the Skyland Stables, and she mentioned that at one point they had like many horses there, And one of the activities in the park was that people could come and ride horses, like on various trails. Maybe not all the trails, probably not all the trails, but certain trails they could actually just come and ride horses. But they put an end to that, apparently, because the trails that the horses were walking on needed to cross Skyline Drive to continue to the other part of the trail. And at some point it was determined that horses crossing Skyline Drive was unsafe, given the chance that a car might come along and just create an accident or something. So I think they discontinued that horse riding program, but they still had the land where the stables used to be. And I think I did see a horse off in the distance, so they might still care for the horses. They just don't have the horse riding program, as I understand it. So that was a tidbit that I learned in the trail book as it relates to Shenandoah National Park. And here we are. We are approaching, this is the Skyland dining room. And there's other stuff over there. Riley looks very excited here. And people look like they're observing us. Like, who is that guy? That crazy guy? Alright, I'll check in later. Alright, so Riley and I have made our way on from Skyland Resort. And coming out of Skyland, yes, we were able to fill up on water. There was an outdoor water fountain, and then we just hung out for a little bit, and a couple people were nice to us and stopped to chat with us, which was cool. And other people kept their distance. They just wanted to get into the resort and I guess have some dinner at the restaurant. Anyway, so coming out of Skyland, the AT follows this really wide trail because it's coincident with this trail called the Stony Man Trail. And we're now at the intersection between, we're now at the breaking off point between where the AT separates from the Stony Man Trail. Up here is Blue Blaze Trail, and this is where the Stony Man Trail continues. And I only mention this because in my guidebook it says that from here it's 0.2 of a mile to the summit, and that the Stony Man summit apparently is the highest point, I guess, in Shenandoah. It's like the highest elevation in Shenandoah National Park. And I was sort of planning on going up there, but I don't really want to do the extra 0.2 miles because that would turn into 0.4 going up and back. And on the little signpost there, it actually says it's 0.3 up to the summit. So that's actually 0.6 up and back. And it'd be cool to go up there, but I don't really want to go up there. I don't really care about it that much. But I kind of feel bad for not going up there. But guess what? There's a sign here that says no pets allowed. I guess on that particular trail. So that's like that makes me feel better. Like I'm not allowed to go up there with Riley. So we're just going to happily continue on the Appalachian Trail here. Follow these white blazes here. Riley here, there's other hikers up there chirping their mouths. And Riley's got his tail wagging because he wants to say hello. So yeah, and they're coming down. So all right, I'm gonna let Riley say hello, and then we're gonna continue on the AT here. Cool. All right, come on, big guy. Come on, Riley. We gotta go, man. I know. Oh, buddy. I know. Oh. So, some nice views here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good.
There you go. Yeah, that looks pretty good from here. All right.
Come here, buddy. Come here, over here.
What's your day?
Come on, let's go ride. He's like, where are you going? I want to go where you go.
Whoop.
Nice. So we want to be in here, I guess?
Yep, that would be perfect.
Oh, nice. That's good, Riley. Very good. he exercises such good judgment about not like jumping off or anything.
Ours is the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't. Well.
I didn't get your names, by the way.
That's
Oh,
Cody and
I'm rude.
Danielle, and Cody and Trevor. Nice.
All right.
Yeah, Riley, that's good.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Oh, such a good boy.
Why?
He's wagging his tail, yep. It's like something special's happening.
Yeah, he hears it. The people, he's like, they're coming.
That's true.
I just got it to work before we left, and now I'm having trouble.
It's all good. So this is this the basin that it's filled up with water?
Yes,
It's this whole.
Yeah,
it's
you're
this whole
standing
big
in it.
section.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. It's like the classic pictures when you see Little Stony Man.
That's cool. I was totally unaware of that.
Yeah.
Nice. So this is Little Stony Man Mountain,
Yes.
and where you just came from was just Stony Man Mountain.
Correct.
Nice.
Yep. Hold
This
on
is my
one
first time hiking to this one. I've done that one before,
I see.
but I haven't done the full loop before.
Okay.
But he's done it 100 times. He's done every hike
Yeah.
in here 100 times.
Nice.
Okay.
Got it?
Nice. All right. Oh,
Be
yes,
careful, my
Riley.
phone is there.
All right. That was a good practice run.
Nice. All
We'll
right.
do one more
Sure.
since I got it set up. Okay. It's only an 85-foot fall.
Yeah, you're good.
Did you get yours?
Yeah, well, it's just doing continuous
Oh,
recording.
and yeah. Okay.
So I can edit it later on. Yeah.
Let's see what we got.
All right, buddy. Come on.
Very cool.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Got it.
Right. Come here, buddy.
Daddy's gonna get his camera.
Nice.